social emotional learning, we are talking about having a growth mindset and using positive self-talk. So we're starting off today by watching a video of a fifth grader just like yourself. If it lets me play. There we go. I'm going to mute myself so you can hear better. microphone. All right. Yeah, I see some claps. Yes, very nice. You did a wonderful job. Can you imagine, here, we'll hold the claps. Thank you. Can you imagine going in front of a group that big and giving a speech that long? It was about 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes, but that's a long time to be talking in front of that many people. Now, yeah, Layla is in 5th grade. Raise your hand if you're guilty of having a fixed mindset from time to time. Do you ever beat yourself up over things?
Yep.
A little too hard on yourself when you don't do something right? Maybe feel like when you don't do well on something, it's because, oh, I just can't do it. I just can't. Does anyone want to share a little bit about their fixed mindset? Genevieve, you want to share?
So, in lacrosse, some people were starting to criticize me, say I wasn't good, that I shouldn't be there. So I started taking it out of myself, and I learned to fix that, but it still happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's difficult. And like our friend said, the presenter that our fellow 5th grader said, oh, I'm not presenting you guys. You know, you probably exist with both of these from time to time. It's hard to just completely go 180. Now I'm only a growth mindset, and before I was only a fixed mindset. You're most likely going to have a little bit of both, but if we can try to turn it to more of a growth mindset. And Faria, did you want to share?
So when I was little, I was terrible at lessons. I could not do it on my own. So every time I would try to do a Lego set on my own, eventually I gave up and waited for my dad to come home so he could help me. And then finally one day, I built my very own Lego set.
Awesome. That's awesome. You persevered. You didn't give up. So that's the topic of today. And so I have this image of a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So we see on the fixed mindset, someone who has a fixed mindset, they give up easily. They think failure is the limit of my abilities. Once I fail, well, that's it. Can't get better. That's it. I'm a failure. You avoid challenges. I stick to what I know. I already know I'm good at math. I struggle really hard with reading, but I'm just going to pay attention to math and not pay attention to reading. And they think that there's no point in even trying it. So that's more of a fixed mindset. And I know we can all relate to those feelings because those are pretty natural. And then a growth mindset is it's not exactly the opposite, but it's about having an open mind and giving yourself some room for growth. So a growth mindset, these people think failures offer opportunities and growth. When I do badly on a test, it does not mean I'm a bad person. It means that maybe I need to study more, maybe I need a little bit of extra help. I can learn to do what I want. If I want to learn to play the guitar, if I try really hard, I can learn to play the guitar. can give myself the opportunity for growth. I am inspired by other people's success. People with a growth mindset don't compare themselves to other people to tear them down. If Lucas is really good at jump roping, that does not mean that I'm bad at jump roping. It means that he's good, and I'm inspired by how good jump roping he is. Maybe I want to try a little bit harder now. And then another way that growth mindset people talk is they say, I keep trying and I never give up. When you do something wrong or when you fail, it can be discouraging, right? It can be hard to keep pushing, but with a growth mindset, you can keep trying. And that's how a growth mindset is. So right now we're going to take a look at this little story about Brianna, and we're going to figure out whether she has a fixed or growth mindset, and then we're going to turn it around. So I'm going to read this to you. Oh, yeah, John?
I need a pair of new headphones. I need them to really working.
You need some new headphones?
They're not working anymore.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to read to you about Brianna. Brianna sulked into the house after a hard day at school. I'm so dumb, she shouted at the top of her lungs. Her mother rushed in to find her slumped on the couch. What's wrong? Her mother asked. Brianna looked up at her mother. Math is too hard for me and I'll never understand it. I got my test score today and I failed. Maybe you can speak to your teacher about getting some extra help in math, offered her mother. Brianna shook her head and said, it's no use. I can't do anything right. Okay, and I'd like you to throw into the chat, is this an example of a growth or fixed mindset? I want to see a lot of students' answers in there. Yep. I'm going to ask Maddie. Maddie, how do you know that this is a fixed mindset? How do we know that Brianna has a fixed mindset?
I know that she's a mindset because she says I'm so dumb and it's no use and I can't do anything right. But a growth mindset would say I'll try next time and I'll ask for some extra help.
Awesome, Maddie. And Usman, what's another example of how we know that Brianna has a fixed mindset?
She didn't want help from a teacher and I got my test and I scored and I failed.
Yeah. So remember we talked about with a fixed mindset, failure is the limit of my success or the limit of my abilities. Once I fail, that's it. I'm no good. I can't get better. I'm not even going to try. So Maddie already helped us a little bit with this, but I'd like to ask a student or two how we could turn this around. How would it go if Brianna decided to instead have a growth mindset? And I'm going to throw this to Wyatt. Wyatt, how could have Brianna responded to this? Because, sometimes we don't do well on tests. So say Brianna didn't do well on her math test, how could she have responded to this with a growth mindset?
She could have responded, I can study and improve my math.
Yeah, that's definitely, and let's see, I'd like, Faison, can you add on to that? What else could Brianna have done?
She could have took her mom's advice and said, okay, I will go ask my teacher for more help.
Yeah, because remember, a growth mindset is about trying. It's not about being perfect because, let's face it, what is perfection, right? So it's about continuing and not giving up. So growth mindset includes, and we don't talk badly to ourselves too, right? So what are some things that a growth mindset includes? I'm going to ask, so go ahead and throw into the chat something that you would suppose a growth mindset includes, and I'll give an example. One thing that a growth mindset includes is not speaking poorly to yourself. And I'll ask one student, let's see, Francis. Francis, can you tell me something that a growth mindset includes?
Like saying I will be fine
to the end of every sentence. Yeah, didn't you like that? I can't do it yet. I can't score a goal in soccer yet. It opens up this whole world of opportunities, whereas before it was just shut off, right? You close the door. But now with the yet, you open it back up. So let's see, I have a couple of examples, and it looks good in the chat. We have a lot of great ideas. So growth mindset includes, these are just a couple of things and to add on to what you've already discussed. So we talked about positive self-talk. We're kind to ourselves. We don't yell when we get home, I'm so dumb. That's not very nice. You wouldn't say that to your friend or your parents, right? Why would you say that to yourself? Persevering, so not giving up easily. Raise your hand if you've heard that word, persevere. Persevere. Some people, so it means not giving up easily. You keep at it, you keep trying. You acknowledge feedback. So when someone says, let's say I do my presentation and I kept saying a lot. Have you heard of that? They say when you're doing presentations, don't say and all those little pauses. But maybe I'm nervous, so I was doing that a lot. So someone comes up to me after my presentation and they say, oh, I just want to let you know, you said a lot. I could respond to that two ways. I could acknowledge the feedback and say, oh, you know what, maybe I should practice a little bit more. I need to be a little bit more relaxed. Okay, I need to work on that. But I'm not taking it personally. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. A fixed mindset might think, everyone hates me. I did so terribly. And that's not what the person said, right? They were just pointing out that, see, I just said, it happens. And another thing that a growth mindset includes is believing that they can get better. So we talked about persevering, but also more than just not giving up, knowing that I can improve. Today, I didn't make the best omelet this morning. That doesn't mean that that means that if I keep cooking and keep trying, I can get better at it, right? My abilities don't just stop. I can continue to grow. So we're going to focus on the power of positive self-talk. So this is about being kind to yourself. Just as you would be kind to your friends, being nice to yourself. And the power of positive self-talk is so great. And it's actually one of the stepping stones to having a growth mindset. Because if you're always putting yourself down and being mean to yourself, you're not going to make it to that growth mindset. So the power of positive self-talk, this image has a couple examples of the power of self-talk, like it builds confidence. If you walk into a room, kind of like before our social studies test last week, I said we took our deep breaths, we put our shoulders back. Confidence has a lot to do with success, believing in yourself. Improves your attitude. It makes you feel a lot better when you're not calling yourself down, right? It promotes self-love, helps cope with stress, realizing you're not a bad person just because you made a mistake. Allows for taking risks. If you already think you can't do something, then you're never going to know if you can. So you want to take risks, you want to challenge yourself. Encourages motivation, helps work through challenges. Sometimes things are really hard. Sometimes this distance learning can be really challenging. It's a lot more challenging when you're not nice to yourself. Can we all agree on that one? So this is an Animal Crossing image of, this is actually similar to what my character looks like, but not exactly. So there's a saying that says, you water whatever grows is what you water. You water what grows. So when you walk into your garden in your mind, you have weeds in there and you have flowers in there. The weeds are the destructive thoughts, the mean things that you say to yourself. And then we have the flowers, which are things that you want that help you, things that are nice for you. You have your flowers and your weeds. What are you watering? Are you giving all of your attention and all of your energy to these negative feelings and thoughts? Or are you watering your flowers? Are you making sure to be kind to yourself, to push yourself, to try new things? So what do you choose to water? I'm going to encourage you to water those flowers. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to water some flowers in our mind. So we're going to brainstorm some positive self-talk. So one thing, and I put it on here, we're going to brainstorm. Don't give up, you've got this. You're a good friend. And this is actually the time that I'd like you to open up your red notebook, your red writing notebook, to a new page. And you're going to write some positive self-talk in there. And then we're going to use it for our next activity with the paper and scissors. So your red writing notebook, you're opening up to a new page.
What did she say?
So go ahead and take a moment to open up to that new page. And you can write 1 and 2 down. I'll give you these freebies of positive self-talk. And I'm going to show you what we're going to make with our positive self-talk. We're going to make a little,
Open it to a new page.
what I call a positive messenger. So we need at least 8 phrases of positive self-talk. And this is good practice too, because if you're naturally a person who speaks poorly to yourself, which some of us do, I know that I've had my own moments personally where I've been kind of mean to myself or a little harsh, so it's not super uncommon. So let's take some practice. So I gave you 1 and 2, so make sure to write those in your notebook. Don't give up, you've got this, and also you are a good friend. And I'm going to write them with you. Oopsie. Okay, and I see, Bonnie, you have your hand raised. Do you have a positive self-talk to share?
Yeah, you're on fire.
You're on fire? Like you're on fire! Like you're doing great? Yeah, I like that. I'm going to add that. Oops, I'm in caps. We're not screaming. You're on fire. But we are doing an exclamation point because you're on fire. Woohoo! Here was another example. And remember, when you're doing positive self-talk, it doesn't have to be super formal. What is something you'd say to a friend? Or sometimes it's easier to think what I would say to my friend rather than myself. Because we don't normally talk to ourselves like that all the time, looking in the mirror. But you would to your friend. Samantha, what's something you could say, positive self-talk?
You could say try again.
Try again. I like that one. Try
You need to have these.
again. And then put a little smiley face. Richie, what's another thing? What's another positive self-talk? Richie?
I'll get it next time.
I'll get it next time. I'm gonna put you're doing great. You will get it next time. Nicholas, you got something? What was your idea, Nicholas? Your fails make you stronger? Yeah, definitely. Your fails or failures, I'm going to write failures, but I know, so you can write fails. Your failures make you stronger. Definitely. They definitely do. Sometimes you learn a lot by doing something wrong, right? When you do something right, it's like, oh, done, got it, not too hard, I got this. When you do something wrong, you really got to think about it, right? Let's see, Jameson, do you have an idea?
I can't do it yet.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm going to put? Yeah, I'll do that. I can't do it yet. And then I'm going to ask for one more. But you know what? I'm going to encourage you to write more. And you don't have to write the same ones as me. If there's something else, like, for example, Genevieve plays lacrosse. And I know that about her. So I probably wouldn't say, "You're the best lacrosse player," to myself, because I don't play lacrosse. But that might be something that Genevieve would write to herself or say to herself, because that applies to her. So if you're really good at something, or you want to be really good at something, you can put that. Genevieve, what's your idea for another one?
I have two. I have one is lose 100% of the things you don't try. And then the next one is, it's called practice for a reason.
I love that. So Genevieve told me two things. She said you lose 100% of the things you don't try, which is true, right? Because if you don't even try, then how are you supposed to do it or win? And then what was your second one again, Genevieve? It's called practice for a reason?
Yeah.
I love that. It's called practice for a reason. We don't just wake up being a pro and expert at everything. Sometimes we're lucky. Sometimes we're just naturally gifted and talented. Well, you guys are all gifted and talented. But sometimes for playing instruments, do you know anyone? Raise your hand if you know someone who just knows how to play instruments without even trying that hard. No? Yeah, my brother's like that. He could pick up pretty much anything. He can't read music, but he sure can play it. And, but, you know, not everyone's like that. Sometimes you need practice. And I'm going to put that. It's called practice for a reason. So here are my 8. Make sure, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes to write down some more. You need at least 8 for our activity. But I encourage you to write more. And the more you write, the more options you'll have for your 8 that you're going to choose. So go ahead and take this next minute 45 to write at least 8. And you can make them personalized to you. Something that I would say to myself, because as you all know, or I assume all of you know, I'm in college still right now. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with my master's. I'm almost on my way to becoming a teacher, just like Mrs. Chucky. So for me, personally, I would say, you will become a teacher. You can do it. But for you, I might say something else. How's it going? Do you have 8? Ooh, do you want to share one?
They're mostly that I don't know. I just put these down. No one knows what you was, but I read for myself.
Oh, I like the number 10. Awesome. Yeah, great. Something personal to yourself, too. Nice job, Erica. Just another minute. Make sure you have at least 8. This is a list that you can continue to add to and look at. Okay, and if you could show me an 8, if you have your 8. You already have written at least 8. Show me your 8. Thank you. I see Faria, Jameson, Richie, Bonnie, Francis, Monica, Maddie, Jai. See a lot of 8s out there. Awesome. How you doing, Trevor? Trevor Coble? Do you have 8 yet? No? Okay, we're going to give, let's see, if you still need more time, give me a 1 if you need 1 more minute.
And we have some that have extra ideas. Good job.
Yeah, I walked around the room. I saw a couple students have at least 10. That's great. Like I said, we're going to use 8, so make sure you have at least 8. But this is one of those things where the list can never be too long. Really good practice. Okay, ready or not, we're gonna move on. If you don't have your 8 yet, that's okay. You'll have a little bit of time to come up with a couple more, but we're gonna make our product first. And we are doing positivity on the go. So I call this a positive messenger. You may have heard of this as like a fortune teller. You can see on my screen. It's kind of a game you play with people. You do the color,
Ooh,
you have you have the number, and then you show whatever the fortune is inside. But we're going to do it slightly different because we're not writing fortunes. We're doing positive self-talk, positive messages to ourselves and to others. So this is something you could use at Christmas or with your friends to cheer someone else, just to share some positivity. That's why I call it positivity on the go. It's a positive messenger. If you're feeling down in the dumps, you can, play a little game with yourself. Say, aw, you're the best. Thanks, little positivity messenger. Makes me feel a little bit better. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So that's what your paper and your scissors is for. For this activity, you need a square piece of paper, but most papers aren't cut, most printer paper isn't square. So I'll show you how to quickly cut your paper into a square. So you can put your writing notebook to the side. You're going to need that list, but you're not going to need it to make your positivity messenger. So we got your paper and your scissors. And students, if you are someone who already knows how to make this, I don't mind if you start making it right now. But for everybody else, I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to stop presenting this, and I'm going to present the Elmo camera.
You're going to need that in a minute, because we're going to be writing inside of it.
So just put it to the side. Yeah, just put your notebook to the side for now.
We just need one.
Yeah, they just need one piece of paper. Oh, you guys are seeing something funny. One sec. I'll show it to you again. You should have your paper and your scissors. Thanks, Bonnie. And if you already know how to cut your paper into a square, go ahead and do that. I'll show you in just 1 second. Bonnie looks like she's already done it. Nice job. Super stop. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out. And I have my piece of paper with my little bottle. Beside. And okay. So to make a square with a regular printer size piece of paper, you're going to grab this top right corner and you're going to fold it so that this top is going to be flat against this side. Okay? So it's going to be 2 equal sized triangles, 2 right triangles, and then you're going to fold it down. So everybody in class, you already have a square, so just ignore this part. So it's going to look something like this. If you're not the most perfect folding person, that's okay. Today we are focusing on a growth mindset, and a growth mindset would say, I'll get better. I'll keep trying. So we have this, we have our folded paper, and there's this little chunk at the end. This chunk we don't need. This rectangle is what's keeping our paper from being a square. So go ahead and pick up your scissors and cut off that little triangle at the bottom. And again, if it's not the most straight line, well, that's not what today's about, right? I'm not going to care too much. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, we'll improve.
Yeah, we'll improve. Exactly. Thanks, Pierce. What a great example of a growth mindset. So this little scrap right here, you don't need it. You can keep it if you keep scrap paper for other things. Just don't need it. Okay, so I'm going to unfold. Now I've got my square. Students at home, show me on your camera that you have folded your square.
Did you fold it, honey?
You have your square. Thanks, Jansen.
Like this.
Awesome. Monica's already made hers. Awesome. So Samantha. Great job. And Layla. Great job. Everyone else, we're going to continue.
You know what you think you folded, right?
Oh, yeah. So you've got your square. Okay. So what we do now that we have our square, we're going to fold it in half. And then we're going to fold it in half again so that it's in a square. Because we need those creases. This is, I guess this would be origami. Because origami in Japanese means folding paper, right? Does anyone at home speak Japanese? Jameson, you know a little Japanese? You know the definition of origami? I believe I was taught it means, you know a little bit. Do you know what origami means? I believe it means like ora and gami. One of them's fold and the other one's paper. Okay, so now we have our 4 distinct boxes. You can see on here with the creases. We're going to fold in each corner. So the first corner, just like this, and try to match it to the lines that are already made in the crease. Maybe I can change the brightness a little bit.
Is your hand in class if you need a little help?
And then we're going to fold in. So you're going to fold in each one of these corners. And students at home, go ahead and unmute your mic if you have a question, or if you're, and if you have to get up and go to the bathroom and fall behind on these folds, that's okay. I'll help you at the end so that we can get through it once. And if your paper is not perfectly square, you'll notice that some of the corners might be a little off, but that's okay. Growth mindset, we'll keep working on it. We're not going to give up. So now you should have your paper with all the corners folded in. I'm going to give everybody another minute to do that. And it should look something like this. Open up. Oh, Noah's already got his made. Awesome. Give me a thumbs up when you have this fold. Nice job, everybody. How's everyone in class doing? Everyone got it? Okay, so what you're going to do is, good job, I love that you've tried. We're going to flip this paper over. So now we have the side where it's just flat. The folds are on the other side. Flat square. You can see my creases, but that's from the other side. Flat side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold in the corners. So you'll notice when you fold in the corners, you have that you have those two, that sliced piece, that sliced triangle. You're going to fold in all of these corners, just like this. And believe it or not, this is pretty much the last step as far as all of our folding goes. So I've got this. And you want to just keep going. You want to fold all the corners in. And one last corner. Okay. So now, after you've completed that, and you can take an extra minute if you need to, it'll look something like this. There will be 8 little triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 triangles. If you flip it over, you've got your 4 squares. So you've got your 8 triangles, and when you open up one of those triangles, open up one of those diamonds, you have the left and the right side. I'm going to ask you with a pencil, a marker, whatever you have near you to put a line between those. Might be kind of hard to see right now, but I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put a line on that crease in the middle. And I'm going to do that for each one.
And if you have a colored marker, it might stand out better.
Yeah, marker would stand out better. If you have a pen or a pencil, that works too, but marker would probably be the best because it really stands out. After I've done that for that one, I'm going to close it, turn to the side, open the next one, and do the same thing. That way I have a left and a right, just like my two triangles on top, the left and the right. And I'm going to close and turn. Not the straightest line, that's okay. Close and turn. Okay, so now you have all of those sections, and I'm going to close this. So we're almost done. So I'm going to show you, this is mine that I made at home. And you write things on the left and right side. This is where you're going to write your positive messages to yourself. And these messages, if you would like, you can write, "You can do it," "You are amazing," instead of "I am amazing," whichever one you want, because if you do "you," then when you do this with friends or family and they select, you'll read it out, "You are great," or however you want. But you can write "I," or you can write "you." So for students, if you remember point of view, you can do first or second person for this activity. So I'm going to open it up, and on this one, I'm going to look at my list, because we still have our writing notebook out. And I'm going to put on the left side, I'm going to put "You can do it." So at this time, on all of these sections, you're going to have 8. Remember, we wrote down at least 8. You're going to write every single one of your positive messages to yourself. So go ahead and do that right now. And for students at home who have already made theirs, this is your time where you can jump back in and start writing those messages to yourself. And I'm going to write some messages to myself as well. I'm going to look at my list.
And for those who are crafty and artsy, if you want to add colors
Mm-hmm.
and be creative, add those colors.
That flew off my desk so fast.
So go ahead and write all of these messages to yourself, and then I'll show you how to complete this. And after I show you how to complete this, we're going to have a couple minutes where you can be really creative and you can add colors and really make this your own, because the most important part was the structure and having those messages. Everything else is kind of for fun. Remember, I told you we were going to do something fun today. Noah, did I do it? So go ahead and write all of those messages. And if everybody could pause for a moment, drop your pen or pencil real quick. Free hands. Show me your empty hands, everybody. We're going to go back to this. We're just going to pause for a moment. I'm going to show you how to complete this. so that you have some time to just relax and keep working on this. It's a little bit of a art project as well as just a good mindful moment. So what you'll do after you're done writing all of your messages, you have these triangles, right? You have 8 triangles. So typically what you would do is number these. You would number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can do that if you're feeling really creative. You can put little symbols. You could do a square, a star, whatever you want. I'm going to do, for the purpose of this, I'm going to show you just with numbers. 1, 2. Like I said, this is something that you can be really creative and make your own. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those are on all the triangles. You're going to write the numbers. And then again, just pause and look up real quick. I'm going to show you what to do next. After that, you're going to flip it over and you have those squares. These squares are typically where you put colors. If you want to be creative, you could draw pictures of animals or make it really, you can make them rainbows. You can do whatever you want. But typically, there would be blue, and then I might color it blue, red, I'm going to put green, and pink. Okay. And you can make it however you want.
Wait, you mean on this side?
On the side with all of the squares, that's where you put the colors. Okay, and let me show you how to hold this, now that you know all of the steps that it takes. So this can be a little tricky if you've never done it before. I'm gonna, I have my squares on top with all my colors. I'm gonna fold it in half across those natural creases that we already have. I'm gonna fold in half just to make sure those creases are really strong. Because with origami, you wanna do a good crease. And these squares are where we put our fingers into. If you've ever seen someone hold it, I'll show you my, the one that I made last night. You see someone holding it, it's a 3D thing. You hold it like this with your thumb and your pointer finger. Your thumb and your pointer slip into that. So let me zoom out a little bit and show you. So on my brand new one, it's still stiff because it's just a piece of paper that we folded. I'm going to slip my thumb and my index into one side. So it looks like that. And then I'm going to stick my thumb and my index onto the other side. And then I'm going to push it together. You might have to fix the folds a little bit. So it should end up looking something like this. It'll look like this on the bottom. Those are all the finger holes. And then you put your fingers in there. Remember your thumb and your pointer finger? You've got this. And the way that you use this is that you open, you do your index up, and then you do your thumb and index away from each other. So when you're doing this activity with your friends or your family or by yourself, what you do is first you pick a color. So I'm going to ask, let's see, Monica, pick a color. Red, okay, so I do R-E-D, and then, let's see, Mia, pick a number. We have 1, 2, 5, and 6.
Oh, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, let's see, Lucas, pick a number 3, 4, 7, and 8. 8. So I see 8, I open it up, and I look to the side that 8 is on, to my right side, and I see, don't give up. Oh, what a positive message. That really made my day. So that is our positive messenger. What are your questions about making this? Does anyone need me to go back and show you a step? Or is everyone pretty clear on what to do? I know some of you have made these before.
I kind of like need help to like
Jai, you need some help?
Last step again.
Mommy, look at this. Can I go to the study session?
Yes. What's your computer on right now? 64? Let's wait, I think you'll make it till recess.
64% is pretty good.
Yeah, 64 is not too bad right
That's
now.
more than half.
Okay, everybody, so for the next, let's see, 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to keep working on this. If you have colors, bring your colors out. And I'm going to be coloring mine with you and really just enjoying this time, being mindful and thinking about those positive affirmations, that positive self-talk. And you know what, this would be really nice to bring out over our break when you are with your siblings or your family or with your parents or talking to people over Zoom. You can bring this out and cheer them up. So I'm going to ask a couple questions. I'm going to open up the chat real quick. And I'd like to ask the question, why is positive self-talk helpful? So go ahead and enter into the chat. Why is positive self-talk Why is positive self-talk helpful? Genevieve says confidence. That's right. It helps build confidence. Nicholas says it tells your mind to keep on going and grow a healthy mind for life. Samantha also says confidence. Monica says positive self-talk brings you confidence. Oh yeah, it totally does. It's really good. You gotta be kind to yourself, everybody. There's only one of you, and you are them. Monty says positive self-talk is helpful to build your confidence and tells you to keep up the good work. Never give up. And Benjamin says less stress, definitely. And now my final question, and I'm going to call on a student or two for this one. My question is, if you have a friend like Brianna, and you hear how she's talking to herself, what's something you can do? What's something you can say to your friend? I'm going to throw this to Dylan. Dylan, if you have a friend like Brianna and you hear her talking the way she was talking to herself, what would you say to her?
It's okay, you'll get it next time.
That's awesome. That's really encouraging. That's positive. I'm going to ask that same question to Trevor Perry. Trevor Perry, what would you say to your friend if you heard them talking like that?
I would say if you practice math, you can become the best.
Yeah, that's great. Really encouraging. And one last student, Sarah. Sarah, what would you say to your friend Brianna if she was talking like that?
If you try to keep on practicing and working, then you'll be able to get better.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because remember that growth mindset is all about not giving up, carrying on, and keep trying. So I hope you all take this with you and continue to have a growth mindset. I often say at the beginning of the day and in our science, let's make it a great day. Let's make it a great week. Because we do have some power over that. We can choose to have a growth mindset and say positive things to ourselves. And if you're struggling to say something positive yourself, now you've got a little positive messenger, and it's a little bit of a game too. So you can always have something nice to say to yourself.
All I got,
So we're gonna take this next 4 minutes to decorate your positive messenger. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.